Parshas Mishpatim. Let's sit together and think about what this special Parsha is telling us. We are living in busy times. Life is lived in the fast lane. And although we are often stuck now at home because of the newest challenge that we have, it's almost a year now that this COVID has engulfed so much of our lives. But still, we seem to be very busy. Ask anyone what's new, most likely you get a shrug, Baruch Hashem, and they're off about something else entirely. Yes, we're pushed and we're shoved from one thing to the next, never stopping to be miyashiv, to think about it, what we're about to do. I know, look, I'm a writer, and I know sometimes it's very difficult because of all that's going around, the phones and the texts, and just to sit down and think, to plan out. We live in a gullus of plenty and exist often enough with an emotional emptiness many times. So we trudge through all the tasks and the davening, and yes, even if we can, the working and even our learning. But sometimes there's a lack of attachment because we're not focused. This is a particular challenge for our generation, one that leads us often into the weeds of self-induced despair. So the Torah starts this week's Parsha. And these are the Mishpatim that you shall place before them. So the tzaddikim taught us to read this passage in a very unique way. They tell us that a Yid has to think into what he is doing in his life. And this can only be done in a place of serenity, of a bit of calmness. Before we envelop our minds with the daily stress of our life, we're told to make a moment, take the moment, and allow yourself to consider what it is we are doing and where it is leading us. Many of the disasters of the neshama come from moments of impulsive action. While if we would think about what we're doing, just for a moment, we would know that this is not the correct path to go on. Says the Torah, these are the Mishpatim. This word can also express the words of acting as a judge before them, before you do something. So you have to mishpat, you have to danzan, you have to think what you're doing before you do it. Weighing your actions, taking the time to think them through. It's the paramount importance. Fumbling along may seem all you could hope for, but that's not the truth. Our environment has programmed us not to think things out. Information onslaught has rampaged into our lives, hurrying us to the next task with no time to consider what it is I'm actually accomplishing. I'll tell you, I remember when I was about to become a chosen, and I was in Eretz Yisrael. So we were waiting for a telegram from America with a bracha from the Baal Rebbe Reb Shlomo before we finished the shidduch. A telegram, do you know what that is? Many of my listeners won't even know what a telegram is. So I venture to say that many, if not most of us, have never really, we know what a telegram may be, but we've never seen one. I still have that telegram packed away in all the papers that we've had. So we were in Eretz Yisrael. Phones were extremely rare. A yeshiva bocher who had to call home, usually would go to the post office make an appointment to use the pay phone with the asamunim. You bought these little coins. So we had sent a telegram asking the Rebbe's bracha. And we're waiting for, with great anticipation, we're waiting for the reply. Suffice to say, the Rebbe gave me a bracha fulsomely, and last week would have been my 56th wedding anniversary. The Rebbe said I shouldn't do, but so it worked. The bracha worked. But that was the state of communication back in the day. Now we tap on the phone and you have the answers immediately. Has this made things easier? Many ways, yes. But with this comes drawbacks. And we have no time to think. You receive an email or a text, or even worse, a WhatsApp, and you're expected to reply ASAP. How many times have you pressed send only to say, wait 1 minute? Too late. The world is of immediacy. Your recipient has already read your blunder. So I learned a lesson from the previous Amshin of a Rebbe, Zeicher Tzadik Lebrucher. And we came to him one time with a proclamation of the Rabbonim in Borough Park about a very important Indian and something that was a given that the Rebbe will sign together. We had the signature from the Bova Rebbe and from the Satmar Rebbe. And so he said, I'm not saying no, but that the proclamation or whatever the star is that you want me to sign has to stay on my desk overnight. No matter what the vital subject is, the Amshinova would say, I have to have it on my desk. Yeshiva does. I don't sign things just, I know I'm going to sign, but it's got to lay on my desk. Things of importance could not be decided without careful consideration and due diligence. Now, for such a tzaddik, there were no apps that could supplant the clarity of the calm forethought, and I know that there are no apps today either. The Torah is telling us that before you do anything, especially mitzvahs, we should take time to collect our thoughts, act with a sense of serenity, not just fall into shul in the middle of mincha. How often it comes to a lane where everyone's coat is already on. Part and parcel of this world of haste is the trap set by the Yetzer Hara to put us into the realm of denial. We think we are living in deliberate lives, that we thought out everything, and that we do things meaningfully. But if you're honest, that's not the case. Interessant, our Parsha this week also says, distance yourself from a false word. The Chadish Harim points out that he had heard from his Rebbe, the Rebbe Reb Simcha Binim of Pshisk, that nowhere else in the Torah do we find the expression of tirchach, distance yourself, regarding any of the mitzvahs. We find word mutter, osa, regarding actions, but never distance yourself. Said the Rebbe, when it comes to lying, one must stay far away and beware of it at all costs. Sheker is toxic. And that the Torah uses the unique phrase of expressing this warning by saying, distance yourself. It's not enough. Yes, no. Distance yourself. Stay far away. We are often guilty of lying to ourselves as well. When it comes to our thoughts and our motives, it's all very easy to deny our true situation and just kid ourselves into living a pretend life, We may go to shulim, we daven in the right shul, we live in relationships with others, and all that while we live a lie. How can we fracture this make-believe part of our lives? By taking our time to think into what and where we're held in our lives. Take time, breathe in, connect with your reality. Yiddishkeit thrives in the fertile soil of emes, of truth. Patience, forethought, can give you the oxygen to see through the mist of the make-believe that is the web of sheker. We are all grasping, Tyler Franz. We're holding on to the threads of what is true Yiddishkeit. Hold on, breathe in, and learn your truth.